Joy. As you complete the incantation and see no response, you begin to back away. Time kind of slows for you as you back away from the cell door, eyes wide and hand covering your mouth. Dia and Mary will rush past you, going to the log side. Just kind of keep thinking, how did this happen? How did this happen? Like a scene frozen in time. You can't move, you can't speak. Nakir races past you, running into the cell as Nezo yells out. God damn it! How did this happen? I thought we were keeping watch. What? How? You can see his lips move, but it's almost impossible to hear. It's like muffled shouts being drowned out by the rhythmic beating of your heart. Dia and Mary remove the covering from Ulog's head and roll him to his back, his eyes wide, and look back at you lifeless and dull. A scream tries to exit your mouth, but is stopped by that lump in your throat. Hand still covering your mouth, you turn to flee from the brig up to the crew levels, staff clattering to the stairs behind you. A blur of dimly lit corners and cargo. You frantically search for somewhere to be alone. Reach out in the darkness, feeling for the wall, and finding an open door leading to an even darker room. You rush in blindly, slam the door behind you, throwing the latch, and pressing your back against the door. What do you want to do?
I'm just gonna close my eyes and try to pretend that I have an open sky above me, and when I just feel like it's all just empty, I'm gonna fall to my knees and press my hands down and try to cast light on my staff.
Okay, so as your hands begin to crackle with that energy trying to cast light, is when you notice something is missing and it suddenly fizzles out, and that's when you realize that your staff as well as your belongings have been left behind in the chaos. Something in that moment I'm realizing.
Shit. Hoid.
Get no response.
Please. If there was ever a time I need you to show your stupid face. Hoid.
Voice kind of echoes off the walls, but still nothing.
She'll say, my lady, Sehanin Moonbow, daughter of the night skies, goddess of moonlight, lady of dreams, please tell me that I don't know if you're even... Hoid. Can anybody hear me?
It's funny when that anybody kind of leaves your mouth. It's not that the darkness changes, it's just like the way you feel, like physically feel in this space changes. You hear this voice kind of echo through the room, and you can't tell if it's like in your head or if it's coming from somewhere. It almost sounds like it's coming from everywhere, and you just hear, such pain for someone so young of heart with so much left to give. You can now feel your body get whisked away through a strong wind as if you've like been blown backwards, and as you fall, the space around you begins to come into focus now, and tiny dots of light begin to spot across the distance before you as an earth-toned fog begins to roll in like a cloud. As it gets closer, you can also see like these long, thinner black tendrils of what looks like smoke kind of rolling through the fog like veins, and your momentum slows and the fog and smoke combine, forming a billowing cloud. From the top of the cloud rises the figure of a woman. Her dress, a mix of like fungal and mycelium and different mushrooms kind of flowing down into the cloud. And she looks down at you with pity in her eyes. Tell me, child, beacon of the moonlight, infant of our infernal bloodline. She whose fate had been determined well before the collapse of the dominions. Why do you cry out in despair?
I failed. Everything. My whole life, I feel like I've been chasing around my power, trying to understand it. And it's just... sometimes it just feels like I'm screaming into a void. I've been fooling myself. It's the simplest thing and I failed to do it. A friend is dead because of me. Because of what I failed to do. They were all right back home. I should never have come here. And now I'm not sure I'll ever be able to go back. How can I go out there again and face them after what I've done? I don't know what you call it, but it's not a bloody cleric.
Passion in your heart, she says slowly to you as she kind of briefly lowers her eyes. I too have experienced the same pain that you feel. With that, the cloud kind of swirls up from her lower half and over her face, and it encompasses your whole body. The scene around you changes, and you're now standing in the middle of this beautiful forest, and it's unlike anything that you've ever seen before. These large-capped mushrooms, towering as large as trees, purple puffballs, everything is bright and vibrant and lush, dense patches of these fungal flowers with these colors you haven't even seen before at this point. The moment is short-lived, however, as the voice over your shoulder kind of breaks the trance. And she says, "This was once my home. All I ever wanted was to be part of its beauty." She kind of wave her hand again, and you kind of zoom in on that scene to a little tiefling girl. Her features predominantly favoring her demonic heritage. Sitting by herself in a hollowed-out mushroom in one of the stalks. She's holding a small doll that's made of these fungal flowers and pieces that you've seen from around. "One day, Sane, one day they'll see how strong we are, and they won't be mean to us no more." Shouts and angry voices kind of draw your attention from the other side of the stalk, and you can see an elven woman and this large, muscular form with horns kind of protruding from her forehead, running towards you with fear in their eyes. Behind them, you can see a mass of creatures, also creatures that you're not familiar with. They seem to be bits and pieces put together, beings made up of some of these forested pieces you see. As you watch, a creature seeming to be made up of roots and leaves kind of looses an arrow from her bow, striking the elven woman in the back. As she falls, the imposing horned creature looks back in horror and then in rage as he bellows mournfully. He looses a ball of fire towards the pursuers, and with the fire raging, the figure uses the distraction to dart behind a stalk, the same one concealing that little girl. With pain and love and sorrow in his dark eyes, he reaches down and cups the young girl's face in his large hand. "I am sorry, Guggy. It's just not safe here anymore. We thought we could make them all see, but we failed. Come now, take my hand." You see the little girl reach up. Large red and black portal kind of opens within that stalk on the other side of her. She looks back up at the creature. "What about Mommy?" She cries as the mob grows louder and the figure begins to round the hollow stalk. In a moment of panic, that demon, that large imposing figure, turns. "We will meet you there in the endless expanse of the astral sea. Your aunt will show you the way. Now quickly, through the gate." The small tiefling girl raises and moves towards the portal with one final look back at her father. He turns to her and he just says, "I love you, Zaktamoy of the Fae." just after that, this mob is suddenly atop them, and with a final desperate act, he turns, kind of shoving the girl, and simultaneously turning to face the mob before the image, changes again. That was the last time that I had seen my parents. From there, I was whisked away back to my father's homeland in the Abyssal Plains. I must tell you, child, young one of the moonlight, it is much worse there than I've ever seen before. I thought I had failed too. I lived my whole life thinking if I had just been stronger. But I have heard your call. And you. I can show you how to harness the true power that you seek. Would you accept? As she says it, you kind of see that those like black tendrils are like thicker. They're more predominant to that original earth tone, but it's like a thing of beauty. It's not ominous. It doesn't scare you. It's almost like welcoming you. It almost feels like she's embracing you. Although her arms are still at her side, it's just that the gaze.
Joy relishes in that warmth because she's never really had that feeling. And she'll say, I just want to do right by them. All of them.
You mean your friends back there? Or something more?
For them, for my family, even the ones I never met, and for you, for the little girl you were.
That little girl is long gone, but it always makes us stronger. If you are in it, you are part of them. Friends. That is an honorable statement. It will teach you to harness that passion in your heart. It's passion that drives us all, but we must find balance. If you do accept to take my hand, she reaches down. It's kind of like odd, it kind of almost stretches down to you. It's almost like her body and the cloud follow the hand down after like stretching a bit.
I'll go. And she'll reach up and take a hold of that hand and grab on.
If you are a part of them, then you are now part of me. Come now, I have much to teach you.